Make today another wonderful day. Good morning, dear students, and welcome back to our English text class. Today, we are going to take up our new lesson, that is, lesson 2, Packing for the Journey. And it is written by Jerome K. Jerome. Children, this story is about three friends. These friends decide to go on a holiday in a boat down the river Thames, accompanied by a dog named Montmorency. The story describes how the three friends packed for their journey. So let us see the whole story. Children, the story is narrated by Jerome and it goes like this. They made a list of things to be taken, and a pretty lengthy one it was before they parted that evening. The next day, which was Friday, they got them all together and met in the evening to pack. They got a big bag for the clothes and a couple of hampers for the food stuff and cooking utensils. Then they moved the table up against the window, piled everything in a heap in the middle of the floor, and sat around and looked at it. The narrator rather prided himself on his packing. Packing is one of those many things that he feel he knew more about than any other person living. He impressed the fact upon George and Harris and told them that they had better leave the whole matter entirely to him. So, George put a pipe and spread himself over the easy chair, and Harris cooked his legs on the table and lit a cigar. This was hardly what the narrator intended. What he had meant, of course, was that he should supervise and that Harris and George should potter about under his directions. There is nothing that does irritate him more than seeing other people sitting about doing nothing when he is working, said the narrator. He said that he lived with a man once who used to make him mad that way. He would lie on the sofa and watch me doing things for hours. Jerome says that he is not like that. He can't sit still and see another man slaving and working. However, he did not say anything but started the packing. It seemed a longer job than he had thought it was going to be. But he got the bag finished at last, and he sat on it and strapped it. Ain't you going to put the boots in? Said Harris, and he looked around and found that he had forgotten them. That's just like Harris. He couldn't have said a word until he had got the bag shut and strapped, of course. And George laughed, one of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. He opened the bag and packed the boots in, and then, just he was going to close it, a horrible idea occurred to him. Had I packed my toothbrush? I don't know how it is, but I never do know whether I have packed my toothbrush. He thought that he had not packed it. Then the narrator said, I had to turn everything out now. He searched the things up into much the same state that they must have been before. When he had finished, George asked if the soap was in. He said he didn't care at all whether the soap was in or whether it wasn't, and he slammed the bag and strapped it. It got shut up finally at 10:50 p.m. And then there remained the hampers to do. Then George and Harris started packing things again. Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of a tomato and squashed it, and they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. And then it was George's turn, and he stepped on the butter. The narrator didn't say anything, but he came over and sat on the edge of the table and watched them. They upset salt over everything, and as for the butter, after George had got it off his slipper, they tried to put it in the kettle. It wouldn't go in. They put it down on a chair, and Harris sat on it, and it stuck to him, and they went looking for it all over the room. Then George got round at the back of Harris and saw it, and they got it off and packed it in the teapot. Then Montmorency, the dog, came and sat down on things. He put his leg into the jam and played with the teaspoons, and he pretended that the lemons were rats, and got into the hamper and killed three of them before Harris could hit him with the frying pan. The packing was done at 12:50, and Harris sat on the big hamper and said he hoped nothing would be found broken. George said that if anything was broken, it was broken, and this thought seemed to comfort him. He also said he was ready for bed. Then they all were ready for bed. Harris was to sleep with them that night, and they went upstairs. Hope you have understood the story, children. Thank you. Have a nice day.